Ooh, I hit the right button on the first
try. Good job. No, so you're saying like you don't want to always have to be strong, but as like a Black woman, it's kind of like a thing that you had to somewhat adapt yourself to a certain degree. Right?
And I don't even know if that's something that is specific to Black women.
Okay.
Maybe it is. I'm not sure. I haven't taken a poll of all the Black women in the world.
Okay. But we can generally statement we know it's not 100%, but generally speaking.
Right. Generally, I think that some of us are put in a position where we have to be strong, especially in professional settings.
Right.
Especially in professional settings. Mm-hmm. That's where I feel it the most. In professional settings, I need to come across this way because there is sometimes a slight that will come across. And by a slight, I mean like subtle shade. Right?
I understand that. I know exactly what you mean.
That can be thrown.
Especially if you are in somewhat of an emotional state one day. And then you tell somebody and then you're labeled angry Black woman or something, or they look at you different. You know what I mean? Or they're going to have those judgments because you just had a day to go off, and you deserve to. But then everyone's like, oh, you just had a,
So no matter, and I already feel like that is, and because in my youth, and I'm still young, but one thing that I've always said, and I'm learning that that's not true. One thing I've always done has been like, the people who know me, and everybody who else that don't know me, fuck them, right? I don't owe an explanation to you, right? Because the people who know me, and it's true, the people who know me really fuck with me. They love me, right?
Yeah, for sure.
The people who don't, those are the people who have questions and don't understand my character or my motives and things like that, right? They're the question marks. I'm not explaining myself to you. I don't have to.
That's
right?
True. Okay.
Because if you're not in my circle, I don't need you to know me like that.
Okay. I get that.
What I'm learning is the flaws to that is that not everybody is going to know you, right? And if you want to expand, if you want to grow, if you want to do anything in life that's worthwhile, you're going to need relationships, right? Substantial relationships. You're going to need partnerships. You're going to need strategic alliances in order to make that happen. And you don't know who's watching at one point.
And you don't know who that person is going to be later.
Exactly.
So you can say like, oh, Susie Q is this random person. I don't give a damn about you. But then it's like, they will be the next president's wife, and you had a good connection, but you never opened yourself up to even allow that to happen, which now you lost a good relationship you could have had, which could have put somebody else in position, Right.
Or even at a foundational level, like we, given our training, like we're always taught to look to be leaders, right? And as a leader, right? As a leader, as somebody who's leading people, whether you're doing it on your job or just the way that you carry yourself, in order to be a leader, yes, you have to have followers, but you have to look at the way that you're serving people. Right. And the way that these people come to you, the way that these people talk to you, right? Who are you leading? Because if you're leading somebody, they should be able to talk to you. They should be able to come to you. And not only that, you should be doing it in such a way that it attracts other people, right? Who may not be directly in your span of care, directly in your realm of influence, to come along to see what it is that you're doing and then to want to be a part of it, right?
Yes.
But all of that is dictated on the way that you come off. Everything I just said is dictated on the way that I come off.
That's true. And
everything.
That's true. And a good point with this too is when leading, your job isn't to be the leader to just make the decision. Your real job as a leader is to serve the people that are under you.
Boom.
And that's the hardest thing that I've learned about being a leader.
That is the biggest mind flip
ever. That's the thing that's hardest is like, my job is not to be that I'm on top of you. My job is to pretty much serve you in every way I possibly can. And that's how I be your leader.
It's to make sure
you're good. My job is to make sure you're good before I'm good.
Yes.
And by default, they will all look out for me when I'm in a situation but that's the way, but that's so hard when you're a leader. You think it's like, I gotta be top dog. I gotta make sure that I'm steering the ship right. But it's like, you got to make sure your people are good.
Because you have to manage that, right? And the way that here's the way that you manage that, right? It's something that we call like human capital a little bit. And we call it with our kids, right? Like when you make deposits into people by encouraging them, by making sure that they're good, making sure they have what they need, by inspiring them, by basically having a conversation, a human conversation with somebody. How are your kids? How's your wife? How's your husband? And then caring about what they say back to you, right? So there's that piece of it, right? Those are deposits, right? But sometimes leadership is people coming in just making withdrawals. I need this. 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 And those people are less likely to give it to you because you didn't put anything in.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're asking for something that you didn't put in. There's nothing in me, right? You never put anything in me. You never made sure that I was even in a position to do what it was that you're asking me for.
Yeah, that's true. That's
right?
Really good
like
point.
You're asking me for something that I may not have been in a position to do or to give. And that's where we come back to the ways that people are made up. People are made up of experiences and traumas and emotions and the good stuff that happened and the bad stuff that happened and all of this stuff make up this human. It also makes up the way that they work.
That's true.
It also makes up the way that they do things. It makes up the way that they respond, right? And if you're leading somebody to a goal, there's a purpose in this. I'm not just leading you for nothing,
just
right?
to lead randomly to who knows where.
To a goal. If we want to reach the goal, I need you guys to help me reach it.
Right.
So in order to do that, y'all got to be good.
And you also got to realize the person you're leading, what type of person they are, to put them in the position to succeed. Because you might put someone as like a art director when they do video, or you know what I mean? And then like you have if you're not emotionally intelligent to see the skills that they have or like how they are to where they can actually be like the highest form of themselves, like you're doing them a disservice as a leader yourself, you know? So a part of it is like, one, like, you know, I'm giving back to people, you know, but it also is learning to see how they would fit in the dynamics of where you're trying to go to make sure they're good to flourish.
How they're going to fit in the dynamics of where they're going, bro. That's something it's hard to develop because you have to be, the thing is with that kind of development, you have to it's like a trial and error. As much as you put yourself out there, you'll learn more, but you don't just wake up and be like, I'm a leader and hey, I just get people. Like some people may have the gift of the gab, but a lot of times as like average humans, you don't, and you have to develop that skill. And so it's around being vulnerable and opening up to people and then getting people in. You'll start to fine tune those like, okay, I can see this type of person, their personality is like this, they should go here now. Because before I had the person like this, and I put him over to the other box and it was horrible. They're very similar. Maybe she'll fit better in this position now. Right. And then you can kind of, and as experience goes, you know, but it's a very big part of learning that I learned as a leader. And I still struggle with that part myself. It's all of this that we're talking about, like straight up is easier said than done.
Oh yeah.
Because in practice, in the moment, and that's what I'm learning now. I feel like that's what God is showing me now. Like in practice, in the moment, what did you do? Like this morning, right? I'm in the middle of praying for God to put a guard around my mouth. But in practice, in the moment, what did I do? I cussed bro out for knocking on my door, right? And then after, I'm like, I just totally missed it. Dang it, right? And I could choose to be messed up, like fucked up the whole rest of the day because, you know, I blew off that one opportunity that I had, I didn't work. But what are we doing in the moment? Like this tangible practice that in the moment when we're faced with these things, what are we doing? And this is why what you put into you is so important, right? Because you're going to revert back to what you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And when times get hard, when the stress hits and the stuff hits the fan, you're going to revert to what you know.
Yeah,
right?
Even if it's good or bad. You'll go to the stuff that feels comfortable to you.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And that is very true.
You go to what you know, right? Yeah. So the new things that you try to put in you, it has to be a practice. It has to be a habit. It has to be mindful. Yeah. And it's something that you have to continue to do every single day. And then be honest with yourself in the places that you miss it and try like hell not to make that same mistake the next day.
And even if you do make the mistake, don't beat yourself up because you have to realize you're human and you're not gonna, every day isn't going to be the greatest day. Some days you'll be going like 3 weeks of not cussing anybody out. Right. And then one day you'll cuss somebody out, but then don't like be like, I'm a horrible person because I just messed up. Like, it's like, yo, like that happened, apologize, and then learn and move on. Like, don't stay in the rut of beating yourself up because you end up just doing it again anyways. It's a much faster process to do the same thing again if you beat yourself up. Absolutely. Like, you know, it's again, this shit is hard. And this is all trial and error. This is stuff that I've seen and stuff that I go through myself. That's like, yo, like, you know, I used to get mad at myself. I still, even to this day, I still like have shame about stuff. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like killing myself off. And I got to remind myself like, yo, like you wouldn't talk to your worst adversary like this. Right. So why are you talking to yourself like this? And when you have somebody, oh my goodness. And I remember the first time my superior told me like the way you need to work on the way that you deal with your frustrations. Right. Like that's, first of all, that's something extremely personal. Right. But then very like sensitive. Very sensitive topic, but it's like that determines
that determines everything about you. Like that determines the way the rest of this meeting is gonna go.
Yeah.
And she's like, you need to be mindful of the way that you shift the atmosphere. She's like, you are super strong.
Yeah.
You are super, you know what I mean? You talk extremely well.
Yeah, you have a strong presence.
And because of that, it could intimidate people, right? And then when somebody says something that frustrates you, your face changes, your body language changes. Like that's shifting the atmosphere in a negative way to the point where people don't want to work with you. I don't want to work with you like that. And then you're thinking like,
and then that wall, that person comes up where they never want to open up again.
But this is separating you from your growth. This is I mean, let's talk about money. This is separating you from your promotion.
That's true.
Right? It's not because you're not smart enough, because you are. It's not because you're not capable, because you are. But it's because I do not trust you.
Right.
I don't trust the way that you're going to act when somebody says something you don't like.
And I'd much rather have someone who's emotionally intelligent to be able to deal with that and be able to handle that more than someone who's just really, really smart. And like, if I had a company right now and I had the person who was like the best in the world, but he's a dick, I wouldn't want him on my team.
No,
I'd rather have someone who's way less qualified, but better emotionally, can get my team together better. Even the guy can make more sales. It doesn't matter to me.
I don't care. He's an asshole.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't like that. I don't want that. And I don't want to have that pressure because it's going to affect the whole community.
And
that person will affect everybody.
It affects everything. Like think about the way that people, like I talk about vibes all the time. Like I'm not feeling it or the vibe. You know what I mean? And it sometimes is overused, but sometimes it's the perfect thing to really describe what it is that we're talking about. True. These frequencies that people, they're not necessarily saying it, but something is off about your energy.
You can feel it in the room. You don't have to say it. You just know it. Like you can
feel it when somebody is frustrated. Yeah. And if that shifts the atmosphere in a negative way, then I don't want you around me. You want to know why? Because frustrations are natural. Yeah. People are going to say stupid stuff. You know what I mean? Things are not going to make sense. It's our job to help them make sense. But if all of those things throw you off and frustrate you to the point where you're shifting the energy in a meeting, no, I don't want you on my team, right?
Especially as a leader, you need to have control of it. And that goes back to the Kanye thing. Like, that goes right back to that. You have to be emotionally stable and be able to manage a whole group of people who are unstable.
When what you're feeling.
Yeah, as you're being a leader, you have to be able to control that environment. You can't let what everybody else says throw you off into spin, because I'm like, okay, if that's the case and you're a leader, then you're going to do whatever at any time you want just because someone made you mad or someone said a slight comment. Like, you got to control yourself.
You have to control
yourself. And God gave
us
the ability to control ourselves.
We do. Like, but God also said, I wish that you would.
Yeah.
Like God didn't say, like, you know what I'm saying? You know, do 3, like Hail Marys a day. Yeah. And you're going to be able to control yourself, right? He said
it's possible.
I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. I wish.
Yeah.
But I wish more than anything that you would do this.
But that doesn't say you're going to do it. It means I want this for you. I want this for you because it's better for you, but you may not.
But if you don't, right?
You may not.
If you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
But I got it here for you. I want you to do it.
Yeah.
And then as a leader, we got to, like, that's another thing. We don't get to control the people that follow us.
That's true.
We don't choose them. You know what I mean? Everybody has to reach the goal. Everybody got to go, right? So we got to deal with everybody, right? And this is the part where I was saying, like, you got to control your demeanor. Everybody got to get everybody on the bus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody on the bus. We all going camping, right? We need everybody's on the bus already. So we can't pull over and kick niggas off the bus because they get on our nerves, right? Like, think about that for a second.
As much as you want to.
Because that's who I am as a person, right? Remember when I said I don't talk to people like that over and over again because it's not good for me? I mean that. I'll cut somebody off in a minute.
Yeah,
decide they're not going camping, and it's like, who are you to decide that they can't go? They're already on the bus. So
I do get that, but
you got to work on you to get the nigga to go.
I do that. I do agree, but I disagree, because there's people that when I know me enough to know that certain people I can't work with unless it's like I have to. I will keep it as a very short leash. But
it's small. Your company.
It's my company.
It's your company.
If it's my company and they're on my team, I'm gonna do everything I can to make them successful.
And they're on your team.
When it gets to the point where I know it's not gonna work, where I know it's not,
but you can't fire them. But here's the thing, though: it's your company. You're leader. Well, maybe it's not your company, but you're the leader. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
And you got to jump through 15 million hoops to fire, bro, because he hasn't done anything that's a fireable offense. A vibe is not a fireable offense.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So he still got to go.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not about a fireable offense. I think you just have to explain to the person, like, look, with this type of personality is not good for the culture here. And I think you'd be better somewhere else.
But how do you have that conversation so that he receives it?
just like that.
But if you say it, but again, like this goes back to like the way you say stuff, because if you say it too rough,
I mean,
then he's going to be like, that's going to change, right? This conversation that you're about to have with this fictional employee that we just made up, and this fictional conversation, but this conversation that you're about to have with this employee is going to dictate the way he works for you in the future.
This is true. So
this is going to determine if he gets better and he becomes your shining star, or if he gets worse and then you're not able to produce, you're not able to get anything. And because of that, it's going to control the way that he looks at you. He's looking at you different now.
What's understandable? So it depends on the person. First of all, I have to read the person, but I'm going to do what I love. I'm not going to say you're just screwing up, you're horrible. Right. I'm like, hey, like, this is what I've been seeing. Like, is there something going on in your life? Is there something like where I can help you at? Right. First, I'm going to be a leader and try to be like, can I solve a problem for you?
This is where your question strategy comes in.
Can I solve a problem? Is there something going on that I can help you with? Right.
No.
They say no. Okay. So
tell me reflect on your own performance. Reflect on your performance. Yeah, this has been done to me so many times. I could probably do it to somebody else. Tell me how you feel about it. Yeah. Did it work? Did it work out well for you? Is this the way that you intended X, Y, and Z to happen? Well, why do you think it didn't go that way?
Perfect example. And all you do is you have to question. But you don't come attacking. You don't come telling them what they did wrong. Right. You're trying to figure out how you can be a service to them to make them better, so then they can make you better overall. Right. But that's not easy to do when someone gets on your nerves or pisses you off, But you have to keep that in the forefront.
Because I don't like people that get on my nerves.
What's the better play? To be mad and tell you what I want to tell you, or make you be a better person so we can work together and get here faster?
Boom. That's
overall,
it.
My goal is overall better than what I feel about you.
And it has to be.
But this is not going to work, but I have to be honest. But I will always come first trying to figure out if there's a solution to make it work. Yeah. And that, I think coming of that intent makes it better for both individuals, not just, but they may not be receptive. Not everyone's going to leave on the best note. Not everyone's going to be the happiest. Right. And that's a part of the game. Right. But I'm always going to try to come to the point of trying to make the situation better with the intent of making you better and making myself better.
But we need them though.
But if we need them, then I got to figure out our strategy then to make it to where the results I want that we need for it to go to where we're trying to go. And you can provide those results. And maybe it's in a different department. Do you think you fit better here? What do you desire to do really? Like, what's your goal? What's your end goal for you? Do you want to work in this company? Do you want to start your own company? Like, do you want to like become the president? I don't know. Like, what is your desires? Like, do you want to just see your kids paint art and be a school teacher? Like,
being relational.
What do you want? People. Yeah, what do you want? And then I can say, okay, you'll work better if you just know you have one day off every month to make sure you go to your kid's recital. Done.
Look, it's easy.
Now, as a leader and as a making that decision, I could, in that circumstance.
When we talking about it, because it's fictional people, but when I go to work tomorrow and I got this like shining star, that's what we're gonna call her, shining star, that makes everything difficult. And the mention of her name makes my soul cringe. Okay. Like this is
good. This is great.
Like,
this is great.
They're like, well, what about such and such? And I'm like, don't.
No, this is great. This is great.
Chantel, I don't have it.
I promise you, this is the biggest blessing you're gonna get. One of the biggest blessings. You know why? Because it's gonna teach you to be the person that you want. That you want to be. Like I'm telling you, you can't ask God for patience and be like, God, give me the patience like you. And then like Jesus was getting stoned, ridiculed, like back talked to, lied to.
It's gonna take all of them. It's gonna take all of them to pray me through this moment and to get to a place where she does not make my booty itch because oh my God.
I understand. There's some people that were just like irk you, just like the way they just look, it just irks you. I get it because there's some people I know that's like, bro, like what?
She could walk in the room and speak to me, and I'd be like, like I
don't want nothing to do with her.
No, Jesus, no. But here's the thing, though. I just found out that she feels the same way about me.
Have you tried talking to the person?
No, like, I try. Like we've had conversations, but. For the most
in
part,
depth, like, hey, what's going on with your life? Like, get to know.
I've tried and I avoid it because, with the person, they don't necessarily understand that. And they'll always take it back to work. Right. Okay. Or they'll always take it back to like, well, what about what we're doing here? And you like, I'm trying to relate to you. But if you want to talk about this, then I'm going to give it to you. And then, it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation.
That's okay. But just segue back into getting to know. Like you can't look, you're just saying, You're like a leader. So as a leader, like this is being honest, but as a leader,
Jesus,
you're gonna have to if you want the relationship to grow.
I know.
You got to navigate the conversation out of awkwardness.
Because she owned the boat and she got to go. What was it? A boat or a bus? I don't know. But she owned it. She owned it. And she got to go. Right. And Jesus, I'm telling you, there's no other way to describe the way this lady makes my soul cringe when I see her.
I feel you. I feel you.
No,
I feel a certain part of what you feel because there's people that I know that's like, bro, like
God awkward. No, God no, God no.
Well, you know what
I have literally wanted to quit. I have been like, I quit. Like I'm not. No.
You know what's really funny?
No, like
you know what's real funny though?
No, what?
I feel like I'm just gonna say. I feel like
hold on, battery's about to die.
Okay, we'll wrap it in a second too. But I feel like when this breaks through for you guys, it will be so great. Like you guys will be like good.
I don't want to be my friend. But you have
to get through the growing pain. I know you don't want it.
I don't want to be my friend.
Watch, I promise you. Like I'm not gonna promise, but I really have a strong feeling that if this were to work, like if this were to work, it's gonna be better than you ever imagined. But it's so hard to think about because it's so polar right now, polar opposite right now.
And this is why I need Jesus.
Yeah,
this is why. This is why, like this person specifically is why I have been struggling and all of the things that we just talked about. And it sounded so good when we were saying it, right? And people are like, damn, yeah, girl, you right.
Yeah, I can do that.
Go ahead, Anthony, you right. You right. But Jesus, this lady makes my soul cringe, my booty itch, my head scratch. Like,
gosh, so nasty to think about.
Like my whole body has physical reactions to the point where I've literally texted my supervisor and I'm like, I quit. No. And they're like, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the morning. No, I don't want to. I quit. Find me something else to do now.
And then here comes Miss Chantel coming back next day like, all right, I'm cool now.
But here's the thing. I don't come back like I'm cool. I come back like keep her away from me.
I see.
Because no.
I understand.
No.
And that's okay. And like and you got to really like, there's times you got to take everybody on the bus and there's times you got to let everybody be on the bus and just do their thing while you do yours.
I
hope the mic's recording, but good. I'm glad you got that because that was a real struggle watching. It was like,
I got it. And then, people give you the condescending, you need help. You want me to help you with that? Like,
which means move over. No, I got it. Like, I don't want to wait.
Back up off me. I got it.
I do that all the time. I'm like, I don't want to, me asking you is me saying, get out the way because you're taking too long.
I got it, bro. I know. That's why I'm like, no, stay over there. Oh, I know how to put a battery in a camera.
I understand.
It might take a little longer than the average person.
That is, you remember I was telling you about like me teaching? It was coming out right there. That's exactly how. Just move out of the way. Let me get it done.
I got it. Move.
Like, just move. I don't want to teach you to learn. Just get out the way.
But you can't do that. Like when you're teaching kids how to do math. Like move. I'll just do the homework. Like that's not going to happen.
I didn't get mad at Autumn. I'm like, dude, why don't you know this? I don't understand. Like, dude, it's 2 + 5. You do this. Well, I thought. I'm like, bro, what do you mean?
You better be nice to Autumn.
Stop thinking and just do what I say.
Autumn is a thug.
No, she is. She's a weenie. She a weenie.
Is she?
Okay, when I was little, I was extremely sensitive. Like, you know how you're saying you're sensitive? I was really sensitive. I would cry about everything. Like, my niece came over. She stuck her tongue at me when I was 5, and I started crying. Like, and I was like bawling my eyes out. Like, I can't believe you did that. Literally got in trouble 1st grade. I kicked the ball when recess ends. I kicked the ball still, and then the lady's like, you're gonna be on time after 2 minutes. I sat there and I big old lump in my throat, and I just started crying. Like, I was a baby, and I forgot where I was going with the sensitivity stuff. But Autumn is very sensitive. She's just like sensitive. Me. She cries if I tell her no. She just, and I know it hurts because I know the pain of feeling like everything just hurts. So I try to like tell her like, look, no, I just try to like look like it hurts, but it's okay.
Autumn is spoiled.
Nah,
you don't think so?
Well, no.
You don't think so?
It depends. But no. Should I tell her no all the time?
I wouldn't call.
I used to.
I'm just joking. I wouldn't call other people's kids spoiled because I don't like the word spoiled. It triggers me. So,
or when someone called you spoiled or something?
Yes, people often call me spoiled, and I don't like that word because I don't think it's true. And I also think like if I'm spoiled, then you need to examine what you did to make me this way. Because people aren't just born spoiled. There's a set of behaviors,
like, bro. If that's the case, you can't spoil me, dog. Boom. Hold on. Boom. Don't tell me
there
that.
There are a set of behaviors,
this is very true,
right, that contribute to me being the way that I am. So maybe you need to examine
Either
how
that,
we got here.
Or they're deflecting something that they're really feeling and putting that on you, so then they don't feel as bad as something else.
Yeah, I don't like the word spoiled.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's not the worst word in the world.
Pretty close.
Not booty. It's booty scratching. Booty itching is much worse.
Oh, because I said that twice.
I was like, yo, like that is very uncomfortable.
It is, but like, has your booty ever itched to where you like clench, like you like, like I need to accurately describe.
Yes.
I need to accurately describe what it is that this lady does to me. Itchy
that you're like uncomfortable.
Like
you're trying to scratch your ass without scratching your ass with your own butt cheeks.
Like a butt clench.
Yeah.
So when I say booty itch, it's supposed to get you to think about like the times when you've had to clench your butt.
So uncomfortable.
And I know it's uncomfortable, and it's like,
especially when you can't itch at a place where you can't itch, you're like, shit.
And that's what this lady does to me. I needed the world and everybody listening to this podcast to understand.
See the eye roll you just did?
That's what she does.
You just did the eye roll.
I know. That was the grown one, though. Not like the...
That was the... I need you to
understand
how much.
Yeah, it was like the adult eye roll.
Yeah, that was pretty adult. But it was eye roll for sure.
Hey.
See, you gotta practice masking that. See? You should practice
masking it. I do.
The reason why I catch it quick because I see it. And I know because it bothers me.
Eye rolls?
It bothers me. It's like... It frustrates me. When people are talking,
you're raising a daughter.
Like when I could, yes,
who will eventually hit you with the eye roll.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If she has not already, because kids these days are very advanced.
She's done it, but she does it in the kid where she's like, "Okay, Dad," but like it's so over dramatic that I don't take it as personal. Because she's just like, it's one, slightly learned behavior, and two, I get it. Sometimes I'm like telling her a bunch of information, and she's like, I get it, and I'm like, no, I want you to get it. I get it, I get it, but I hate the eye roll. It's just like, I just feel like it. To me, it just reminds me of like I just feel disrespected with some eye rolls to me. Yeah. Like when they're talking to me and they're saying something to me, like not like you say you're telling my story, but when then all of a sudden, and I say something, there's like, I'm like, fuck you. Like that's what I really feel like. Fuck you. You think you just gonna eye roll and disrespect me like that because you don't give a damn what I'm saying is important? Get the fuck. That's truly how I feel. It's like I shouldn't even be talking to you. Then I'm wasting my breath talking to you. That's how I feel in my heart. But then I don't say that. I'm just like, okay,
get out my face. I hate you.
But then I'm like this. I'm like notice, aware.
And then when they eye roll you and you're super annoyed, the left eye twitches.
Depends. The left
eye twitches.
Depending how mad I get. If I'm really mad, if it's really like if I'm over it, then it will probably twitch. If I'm 100%, if I'm just like this fucking annoying bitch,
it surges.
Yeah, it's like it's there, but it's like, all right, just deal. You're better than this. Deal. All right,
deal with it.
Deal. You're better than this. You're stronger than a damn eye roll. Deal. But then if it's really severe, it's like, get the fuck out of my face. I'm over this. I'm done. And then I'm like, okay. And then I just lightly decline it in the conversation on a pleasant note. Not, you know what I mean? I don't be like, I'm just like, oh, okay.
What ifs?
All right, well, for sure. Like, a minute of anything, okay? And then walk away. I'm like, fucking idiot. I know. See, but the real, in my inner head is what's going on right now. That will happen, but it's never said out loud.
It's never said out loud.
Yeah. And you couldn't tell normally.
I don't. The filter thing that allows people to think about something and then not say it. I don't know if I have it. Like maybe I had it at one time and then it broke. Maybe it's just non-existent.
Maybe your personality. Maybe it's just you're just a person that's honest and blunt.
I don't have it. I don't have it. And when I've tried to bite my tongue, and just be like, don't say. Nope, Chantel, don't do it. Nope. Right? Like you'll be in the head. Nope.
Don't, not today.
Too easy. Nope. Walk away. Yeah, there have been moments where it's like, don't do it. Nope. Don't do it. Nope. Don't do it. But then I'll walk away and I'll think about it. And I don't have the type of thoughts where I could think about something without a resolution, right? I'll think about it over and over again. And it's just rolling around up there until finally
something happens.
It's been 5 hours.
5 hours?
It don't matter.
Bro,
it don't matter.
It don't matter. A long time.
I can't think about something with no if I'm thinking about something, it has to have a resolution in order for the thought to leave my head.
Really?
Yes. If there's no resolution, then the thought don't leave and it just stays there.
Do you ruminate a lot?
Yes. All the time.
Do you have anxiety?
No. Not anxiety per se. I don't think it's anxiety. No,
just more. You just have a lot of thoughts.
Yes.
In general, they don't go away.
I have a lot of thoughts. My mind is always running.
Really?
Always.
Oh, that's interesting.
Always. It's hard to sleep. All kind of stuff. My mind is
really.
My mind runs a lot, quite a bit.
Wow, that's really interesting.
But that's not good. That's not good because when your mind is running like that, like it alleviates your peace of mind, right?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to figure something out that you probably can't. Yes, that may not have an answer. And that's okay, right? So you got to you have to balance your thoughts, right? You have to balance your mind in that aspect. Like this thought right here is probably nothing that you can solve, right?
Yeah.
So because of that, let's move on. This thought right here, you got to filter this shit out. But
I heard that psychedelics cure that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I heard I've looked up a lot of research about it, but I've heard
LSD
and
mushrooms. Yeah, shrooms. Alzheimer's, they help with early onset dementia. There's a lot of good research about
which is crazy why it's so illegal, but it has a lot more benefit. It has a lot of benefits to it if you do it right.
So here's the thing about things that are illegal, right? Everything that's illegal is, in my mind, it's relative. It's about the ways that society can control it and the ways that society criminalizes it.
That's
right?
True.
So things that are illegal don't shy me away, right?
Me neither. I mean, I'm more open-minded than that. To me personally, I'm just like, there's a plant that was here that was created on Earth. Then why would it be illegal? I can see if you manufacture it into a other substance or a thing, and then you want, and that's illegal. But making the plant or something illegal, that's just retarded to me.
And
and there's lots of benefits that people just don't know about. But since you hear it's illegal, your automatic judgment filters like wall. It's like, bro,
the whole CBD thing, right? So I'm talking to somebody about I have some CBD oil.
Yeah, I know that is.
Some hemp, not some hemp lotion, right? Okay. And I love this shit. I don't know where I got it from, but I love it. I put it on my face.
Okay.
And
that's really nice skin.
You put that on your face? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, I was like, yeah, you want some? And then she looked at me. She was like, why is everybody trying to get me high? And I'm like,
what are you talking about? First of all, like what?
First of all,
you are very misinformed.
First of all, just because it has CBD doesn't mean that there's no THC in it. And that's the ingredient that gets you high, right?
Yes.
So just because something says CBD or hemp, like it does not mean
that you're going to have psychoactive like feelings and thoughts.
It's not weed, bro. Calm down. It's not. It's
a component out of weed. It's not even weed. It's like if you take alcohol and you take like bourbon, for example, and you take the flavor from bourbon and leave the alcohol and it's just bourbon. And then you're like, oh, well, can't taste that because I'm gonna get drunk. It's like, dude, there's no alcohol in this. What are you talking about?
Come on, bro.
A non-alcoholic spritzer. Come on. You can't drink a Shirley Temple or whatever because it's not. You know what I mean? Like that's the logic.
And there was something that I was reading, like a CBD mouthwash should be made. It was like a Canada research study, like a CBD mouthwash that could be made that could potentially protect you from COVID.
Really?
Right? Because something about the way that it coats the back of your throat, and they were able to manipulate this virus and house it and put it in CBD, right? And they were like, it should be looked at like we should make mouthwashes and things out of this substance as a way to prevent COVID.
Right. Wow.
And you know how much funding that will probably get? Zero. Do you know, like that article was not widely circulated,
so
none of that, right? Because you have to.
Like, I think
it's just a way to control people's thought process and people's minds, because the truth is that if you, like you said, like slap an illegal tag on something, there are some people who it's just gonna shy away from, oh my goodness, this, you know what I mean?
Right. But it's not even, it's sad because like you're indoctrinated into believing something so wrong that it's not. Because at one point weed was illegal and everyone's getting arrested, and now it's legal.
Now it's
legal. Then people are still in
Why
jail
is it legal?
Why
is it legal?
That's the point.
Why is it legal?
Why is it legal now?
Why is it legal now?
I don't know why. Maybe because medical reasons? No. I don't know. I think because honestly, I don't
because
know.
People found a way to control and make money off of it.
Oh, so
the government, the government, greedy people, right, have found a way to control it and make money off of it, right?
So now, well, then what's the point of having the law? What's the point? If it's just the point of being greedy,
because it's still a Schedule 1 substance.
But the law is backwards then at that point. Then it's
is.
Then so what's
the
law
point of is absolutely backwards. You said it correctly.
Having the law then.
No, there is a point, right?
There are
you
some
need the
good
law.
things.
You need the law because you need people to break it. You need people to break it because you need people to go to jail. You need people to go to jail because you need to fill up these private prisons. You need to fill up these private prisons so that you can continue to make money.
But that's so fucked up.
Absolutely. The world is fucked up. The world is fucked up. The world is fucked up. But that's
makes me mad.
But that's what shows you about the ways that we criminalize things in this country, right?
Just for greed.
Yes.
And that's so sad.
Yes, the way we criminalize things in this country is for greed. And then understanding that the way that we criminalize things in this country is going to disproportionately affect people of color. Mm-hmm. Which is why we fill up the prisons. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Not because we commit more crimes. That's ludicrous. Yeah. Right? Because there's actually more, not because we're the only people committing crimes. That is also ludicrous.
Because there's actually a lot more Caucasian people and the crime rate is higher because there's more people, but yet there's more blacks in jails. So if you look at it.
Why? It goes back to a lot of things.
If you think about it, just demographically speaking, if there's more population of somebody with crime rates, how they are, then there would be a predominantly disproportionate.
Over-policing. Yeah. Over-policing, right? Yeah. So the police presence in one neighborhood is going to be totally different than the police presence in another neighborhood, right?
That's true.
I remember I went to New York for the first time, and I went to Harlem, and we were walking down the streets of Harlem. Harlem is such a cool place because the streets are literally buzzing, right? More so than New York. They're literally buzzing. It's
like, I feel like
it's a vibe.
I was about to say you could feel it, huh?
It's a vibe. It's something that I really can't put into words. I would really love to go back and spend some more time there. But the streets are buzzing. It's people of color everywhere, right? There are
it's like normal out there. It's just normal.
There are black people. There are Puerto Ricans. There are Africans. There are just so many different people of color, right? Okay. I didn't see a lot of white people, although at the time Harlem was not being gentrified then the way that it is being gentrified now. And every single corner that I walked on in Harlem, there was a police officer.
Really?
Every single corner. And I remember it being so strange because they were just standing on the streets.
Like looking for something.
They were just standing on the streets in full uniform.
Wow.
They were standing on the streets in full uniform, but they were separated enough so like it's not something you would notice unless you notice it.
Unless you like kind of pay attention, like why is it's like every other block I'm seeing a cop, like but it's not enough where like they're in a group to be like.
But they're not in cop cars. They're standing on the streets. But I was also in Manhattan, right?
Okay.
That's it.
Oh.
That's it. I was also in Manhattan. They wasn't standing around like that.
Oh, I see.
And again, right? I'm not even going to presume to know everything about the way that the streets of New York are policed because again, I was on vacation, right?
Yeah, I get you.
And I spent, 5 or 6, 7 days in the city, right?
But this small amount of time
there are things that you notice. There are things that you notice. There are things that you notice. Even like there are things that you notice.
Yeah, for sure. I get that. Notice. I didn't know it was like that out there. I didn't know. I never been out there. But now I'm curious to actually go and see for myself.
It's really,
I'm curious
really,
to go like experience that and see.
To see the way that their lower income communities are set up. And by lower income communities, I mean their projects are set up.
Yeah.
Coney Island, like Brooklyn, supposed to be super famous, like
it is
like a little amusement park beach area. Projects.
Yeah, but I heard it's pretty bad.
It's right across the street.
Yeah.
Coney Island.
That's crazy
beach
to think about.
Projects, right? And you think of in LA, yes, because in LA,
LA's like, yo, you got LA, money, you made it. Like
they would have been tore that shit down, and they like, we doing this right here. Look at Venice, right? Like,
yeah, that's true.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that's
we about to make money off of this land, right?
That's very true. But yeah, I didn't. Oh man, that's crazy. Like it's super just crazy to think about. It's very interesting, and I going back to like over policing and like the drug thing and stuff. It's just like. I don't know. I just don't agree with some of the laws for like the drug. I just don't agree because a lot of this stuff. I mean, I understand like there's things that are manufactured that I don't agree. Like that shouldn't be there. But I don't think like the actual substance or where it came from, the original root thing should be an issue.
There are European countries that do not criminalize drugs.
Really?
I can't think of it right now. When I was in college, I wrote a whole paper on it about the crack cocaine epidemic and how it affected Black people and all of that stuff. I should probably find the paper. It's probably some good work.
You should, because that would be a very interesting read.
I have no idea where it is.
You'll find it somewhere on Google Docs or something.
Yeah, but I have no idea where it is. Anyway, wrote it years ago. And one of the countries that I did a comparison, and I brought it up, and I can't think of the country. It might have been Switzerland. That does not criminalize opioid addiction or drug addiction of any kind. In fact, what they do is they treat it like a sickness.
And that's what it
and
actually is.
And if you want to get help, there's rehab centers available. If you don't, they will support you and give you clean needles to continue your habit.
At least if you're gonna do it, because they're gonna do it regardless. So at least they're gonna be safe about it. That's why. But I think that's a better alternative than.
But then, so that's one thing, right? Now imagine what their drug population is, because you would think that if it is not a crime, then more people would be inclined to do drugs.
Right. But it's the opposite.
It's not the case.
So actually, the more you criminalize it, the more they do it. That's my take.
I don't have any empirical evidence to prove that, but
that's my.
And again, I wrote this paper like
assumption
10 years ago. So
well, I just think that there's a lot of more benefits to this stuff. I mean, there's a risk in everything. I mean, drinking, there's a risk in it. You can become an alcoholic, but it's not. Hey, don't.
You remove the taboo.
Yeah,
you remove the taboo.
And I think like there's a lot of enlightenment to stuff. Like when you open and you can discover things about yourself that you never would have known,
Yeah.
And so I'm just against like making it criminal. Like I'm more of like, if there's a problem, then get help, not making it criminal where you got to go to jail. That's my big thing.
Yeah.
Like, legal, whatever, but don't put someone in jail because of it, let them get some help.
I'm a firm believer that open and honest conversations and not like scientific conversations, but open and honest conversations with teenagers about sex will reduce the rate of teen pregnancy.
Yeah, no, I just don't think like criminalizing drugs and stuff is, I just don't believe it's the way to go.
No.
I mean, when I was younger, I experimented with stuff myself. So being on trying stuff and, seeing different things and having a really open experience, instead of me just saying like, hey, don't do this because I just don't know. I tried stuff and I realized, okay, some stuff, yeah, you can go far and ruin your life. Other things, it's like, it depends on the person more than a substance. Because some people can do like coke, crack, meth, heroin, LSD. Nothing happens, but then they drink alcohol and they become an alcoholic.
It speaks to a larger, it does, but it speaks to a larger issue. Like it speaks to the way that, it just speaks to the way that we prioritize money and capitalism and the way that we're willing to preserve. And I say we as the American people are willing to preserve that system at all costs.
Yeah.
Because the truth is that if capitalism benefits you, then it really benefits you. And if it doesn't, it really doesn't. But in order for a system like capitalism to thrive, there has to be somebody on the bottom. There has to be somebody working to make the other people rich. There has to be somebody barely getting by, right? In order for the other person to become rich, because that's the only way that they do it.
Yeah.
So that essentially, like, we have to look at the ways that these systems come to play and form a system of oppression, right?
Yeah.
For the people that it doesn't benefit.
That's true.
I think capitalism is a part of that, right? Criminal justice system is a part of that. Private prisons is a part of that.
Which I understand, but in capitalism, it's like, well, what other alternative do you think is better?
That
makes sense. Like, I agree with
Canada's socialist. Canada's a socialist country.
Oh, I didn't know.
Canada's a socialist country. They have universal health care.
Well, yeah, America's not gonna do that. Like, not for sure.
But here's the thing, though. They have certain, and I take that back. I don't know if Canada is a socialist country. What I will say is that Canada does a better job of taking care of all of its citizens.
Yeah.
Whereas America takes care of who? The people who can afford it, right? And they deprive people of basic human needs, right? Basic human needs.
This is true.
Healthcare.
This is true.
A roof over your head.
It's true.
Water in some cases, i.e. Flint, Michigan.
Especially when especially when we have all the resources to provide all that stuff.
Yes, we do.
It's not like we're in like a third world country where it's like we don't even have this stuff.
So the fact that we don't means what?
I don't know what you mean.
The fact that we don't, even though we have the ability to provide these things for everybody, and we don't, means what?
I mean, we're greedy individuals. We're messed up.
It means that you have people on the top.
Oh, yeah.
Who are comfortable with that.
And they're
with their
okay.
50 billion, whatever, how much money they have.
And that's why I think that this whole United States, so this would be another podcast, but the whole United States is run by a shadow government. That is not what we see in the front.
Conspiracy theory.
That what we see in the front is not what we really see. And what they want you to see. And that's a whole other topic.
I don't really do well with conspiracy theories because we already talked about the way that my mind is set up. So
there's no proof, but it makes sense when you just look at the facts. When you just look at stuff, it's like,
it's a whole lot of shit. It's like,
if America's, like, for example, like race, if America's this racist and like all this stuff and this bad, then why would we trust what they tell us?
We don't.
Then why do we watch the news and believe the news like it's
everything? Don't.
Some people do.
Oh,
but you know what I mean? Not me and you, but there's a lot of people that do like believe it wholeheartedly, but then say like America is the most racist country, yada yada yada. But then the same people will follow the news like it's like everything, like they're telling the full truth, and it's like, bro,
they're not.
If that's the case, if you think that, then why would you trust that?
That's just foolish.
You know, so I'm saying this to say for people out there, like, you gotta just question what you question.
People want to live in their bubble. Like, questions bring answers, and some answers will scare the shit out of you and make you not go to sleep at night. And people like to sleep at night, and people like to feel comfortable and insulated inside of their pretty little privileged bubble.
So you rather not you, but people rather live with a comfortable lie than know the truth.
Absolutely.
Knowing that.
Have you heard the story about like the little utopian society about I don't know where I got this from, but I heard it before. About the people who lived in this utopian society and everything is great, right? Like everything is cool, everybody's happy, everybody's in their, dream houses and with their dream little families, and they're buying the things that they want, and everybody's happy, right? Okay. Imagine happy. Everybody has access to the things that they want, right? Okay. But there's a little boy who's kept in a closet.
Okay.
Dirty, no clothes. You don't know the story of the little boy, but all you know is that in order for you to continue to live like this, the little boy has to stay trapped in the closet.
Okay. Cognitive dissonance.
So how many people are willing, right, to give up their cushy, beautiful life to help the little boy? Because it's just one little boy, but it's like, 1,000 families.
So it's like these thousands of families are going to have to change their lives before this one little boy to have a better life, essentially, right?
Yes. So if you take that,
live in the utopia world.
So if you take that and you translate that, and again, this is super far-fetched to be able to make these comparisons, but I'm going to do it anyway. Now, if you take that and then translate it into the Black people or the people of color that live at the bottom of this capitalist system, that live in slums, that live in ghettos, that do not have access to decent healthcare, to decent education, because they don't have access to decent education, they don't have access to higher education, they don't have access to jobs, to better paying jobs to potentially get them out of this system, right? Because everything that they are experiencing and have access to is less than what we are experiencing, right? But in order to fix that, it takes some people
to uproot the other things that they're comfortable with.
It takes people to uproot some things. It takes people to do some things different. It means that it's going to affect their bottom line.
That's true. But
they have to make less money,
but a lot of people, I guess.
Walmart, perfect example. Walmart employs quite a bit of people, but Walmart has more full-time employees collecting some sort of welfare benefit than any other employer, right? Wow. They're one of the tops, right?
Like one of the biggest.
Walmart, the Sam Walton company, right? But they have people. I was watching a documentary, like people working full-time who couldn't afford to eat regular food. They had to eat cat food.
That's nuts.
But then again, you have the power to control that. You have the power to fix that. But what does it do? It's going to ultimately affect your bottom line. It's going to affect the way you have to change the way that you do business.
Because there was this guy, he was the owner of a bank, and he was in court, and they were talking about, one of the ladies that was there was like going against him. She was saying like, okay, you're a financial expert because like, you do all these things in your company. Like he was a guy you go to for like dispersing like funds, which they go where. And she was explaining like, okay, so if your employee only makes $15 an hour, let's do the math. Okay. And she did the math breakdown for rent, for housing, or for like food, everything, for after school activities, blah, 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 daycare. And it's like, how do you think we can survive on $15 an hour if that's the case for your company? And then he's like, well, I have to look into that. And he's like, so you're a financial expert.
Right.
You can't tell me you can manage a whole corporation of like 250 buildings with all the finances person, but
I give you the numbers in your face.
You can't tell me how I can figure out how this makes sense for us.
Yes.
And then he was just like,
yes.
So I get it.
We use Walmart as an example, but Walmart is not the only.
Yeah.
It's not the only.
So I get exactly what you mean. And it's just
multiple companies.
It's frustrating because I see both sides. Mm-hmm. Like I see the part where it's like, I work this hard, so I don't want to have to give up the things I want to give up because of your situation. Right. But at the same time, I don't have to live this lavish to make you have a better position either. Right. You know, but whose responsibility is it?
Right.
That's
the thing.
I'm playing over both sides.
But here's the thing: you playing over both sides. You just did so in a scarcity mentality, right? And the scarcity mentality is that if I get I have to get mine. Right. And if I get mine, then that may mean that somebody can't get theirs. Right. Because there's not enough to go around.
But there is enough to go around. That's the thing.
Boom. There is enough to go around.
We're bred to believe that there's not enough.
But we're bred exactly.
And that's everybody
exactly.
In America.
Do you know why?
Blacks, it's everybody.
Do you know why?
No.
Capitalism. That's one of the things that makes the racial divide in this country so much worse, because you have white people who are genuinely upset and angry, right? Because you have these black people who are coming in, right? And they're progressing and they're moving and they're shaking and they're making money, right? And they're poor.
Yeah.
And they're looking like, but how?
Yeah.
How? If I can't get my access to the American dream because y'all let them in to get it. Because of things like affirmative action, because then they use policy like affirmative action to justify their stance and belief, because they're operating out of a scarcity mentality. Because Anthony got his, I can't get mine.
And that's why I don't.
Anthony got his because of affirmative action. Anthony got his because of some sort of diversity quota. Anthony didn't get his based on his merit. Right.
I see.
And that's the thing. And these are the kind of thoughts that ruminate in some white America in white America. You know what I mean? Not all of white America, obviously.
But I know what you mean. And
white America.
But that's the problem. And like, we got to understand as a whole, but just outside of black, as a whole, like there's much more to go around than you think. There's a lot more to go around.
Absolutely.
But everyone who thinks that they're in that mindset.
But if I'm rich, I can rotate the same $10 in your community, right? And if you're focused on that, all you're going to think is that it's just the $10. That's the only $10 that there is. Instead of thinking that think about the person who put the $10 in the community.
Yeah, and every other person outside of there.
Who put the $10 in the community, right? Who opened up this job to the point where just make $10?
Because obviously there's more money because they're giving you $10 plus everybody else in the place.
Boom.
So, and that's the problem that this is also in the
they
black
got you focused on the $10 and they are making hundreds of billions hand over fist. And we focused on the $10 circulating in our community.
And this is also a problem that comes in our community because we also adapt that same ideology because we're like, well, I can't help you because I need to help myself.
Because I got to get the $10.
It's like, I heard someone say that they're like, they're like, oh, I don't want to put anybody else on game. But it's like, bro, if you have the opportunity,
share it.
Like the thing is crazy is this is so backwards, but the more you help other people, the farther you will go faster. It's like, it doesn't make sense until you do it. It's just like giving tithe and offering. Like literally the more you put in and do, it may not come back the way you think it's going to come back, but it's going to come back and much bigger and better. And to me, it's a science. To me, it's fact in my head. Like the more you give out to people and not just give foolishly, but to really pour in and give, the more you're going to get it back by default. But you will get it back. It may not be because I told you encouraging word that one day you'll give me encouraging word. Maybe you're going to freaking give me a plane out of nowhere. I didn't give you no money. But you know what I mean? But people always think I got to hold because I don't want you to take my spot.
And I think the reason why that is because your mindset about money changes.
Yeah.
The minute you go from thinking about money in the scarcity mentality, right? You want to hoard it and it's scarce and I'm not going to get it back. So I got to do everything I can. You know what I'm saying? The minute you let go of that mentality, you'll be surprised at the ways that you're able to think of ways to make money. The way that you're able to think of ways to allow money to continue to circulate.
That mental block is
you
gone.
You have to remove it. You have to remove it. But again, it's hard because this is the system. This is how
you're looking at and saying
this is like a merge of oppression that we internalize, right? This is one of the ways that it shows up in our communities.
No, that's true.
This is a big way, right? So this is something that we have to unlearn as a people and as a community, right? And the way that we do that is by understanding that it is okay for us to help one another, right? But again, we want to be an example.
But I will say, we want to
be so independent.
But even for me, it's still hard because even I understand what you're saying and I agree and I'm fully there.
Right.
But that part of me is like, well, some people I don't want to help because they're not maybe mature or ready enough to even like. You can give somebody $1,000,
yes,
and they'll blow it on stupid shit,
yes,
and then they have no money, then they'll come back and ask you again,
yes.
Or you can teach them how to get $1,000, but they don't want to even be taught. They just want the handout.
Where does that come from?
Indoctrination of the society we live in now. From the scarcity mindset of thinking that, well, and part of it is just laziness, or part of it they just didn't think it was possible for them to get
education process.
So
right, for some people, the truth is that $1,000 at one point in my life seemed like a lot of money.
Me too.
Right? $1,000, $100 at one point in my life seemed like a lot of money. $20 at one point in my life seemed like a lot of money. But what happened? The more money that I started making, the more bills that I got. And that's another thing that people don't understand. People are like, oh, I just need to make more money. Why?
Yeah, like
if you can't manage,
you might actually have a lot
if
more
you
money.
If you can't manage $20 an hour, you're not going to be able to manage $100 an hour.
That's true.
Because no matter what happens, the more money you make, the more money they take, and the more bills you accumulate.
Yeah,
I did not mean for that to rhyme. I swear, I did not.
So perfect though. That was perfect.
I did not mean for that to rhyme, but that's just what happens,
that's
right?
True.
So if you can't manage it now. Then when you make more and you have a bigger house because you can afford it, and a nicer car because you can afford it, and more of this because you can afford it,
you will stay in the same exact position, which is broke because you'll keep bringing your expenditures up with your money.
Yes, and you're making six figures, and you don't understand why you live in life like a regular person.
You broke. You broke because you never were taught how to manage your finances or learn how to put stuff aside and then learn how to invest in that's going to make money.
To put stuff away,
you know?
To not get, don't get the biggest house that you can afford. Maybe get one that is easy for you to pay your rent, right? Like get something like that you don't have to think about.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That even if like it's not going to hurt you
even if I lose my job,
I'll be cool.
I can afford to live here.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
And that's granted, we for the long term. I mean, there's a time where you can splurge.
There
is.
You
need to get to that point.
There is. You gotta
get there. It's not the time
when
you just get a raise. It's not time because like literally, and I've learned this from
people get raises and want to go buy like Mercedes Benz, and I'm like, why?
I don't understand.
Especially not a car.
No, I know.
Jesus, I might not never buy another car, and I mean that in my soul.
I only want one car, which is a Challenger. That's the only car I want, but that's my one thing. But I don't care.
Don't buy it, lease it. Keep your truck and lease it.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Don't trip. But I'm really firm about that because like I just think since I've started giving at church and paying tithe and offering, and then I just don't care about money, and it's so backwards because I just stopped caring when I think like, oh, to give this big amount. I just do it and don't even think about how much I have before I need to do this. And then I have more money right now than I've ever had before, but I've given more. And I'm not only given, I've given to people like random, never with the expectation of getting it back. And literally it just keeps coming back. And I never worry about
because
it. But the people that worry about the most,
are
the ones that don't have it the most.
The one thing I've learned about money, and granted I'm young, so I don't know everything, but the one thing I know about money is there's only one thing that's constant about it.
What?
Sometimes you're gonna have it, and sometimes you're gonna wish you had more. Those are the only two constants, right?
But if you keep it moving,
but I cannot live my life based on those two moments, right? The way I live my life isn't gonna change, right? I can't live my life a different way based on those two extremes.
But you're absolutely right. And it doesn't make sense to the average person when coming from where I used to think about, this would never made sense until I tried it and it proven true. But
absolutely.
But it's definitely backwards to your thinking. Like I have to give more stuff out to bring way more stuff in. But when you get to the point where it doesn't matter, then you'll see how easy it is. Because it's really not that hard to make money when you really know what you're doing. Like it's not that hard. I mean, it's hard, but it's not.
It's a whole lot of money in the world.
When you learn how to make your money work for it and it will bring more money in, like that's why investing is so good when you're doing it at the right time, because you'll be passive income bringing in money you don't have to do it. You don't got to spend your time to work.
You got to think that way.
But it comes to changing your mind, changing your outlook, your perspective, everything. So
you got to have access.
Yeah, you do have access. You have someone to either put you on.
You got to have access.
And you have someone needs to make it out to put you on. But we can't be stingy to be like, get out and then be like, fuck y'all, I'm out. Right. And that's where and
we got to help our people in the community who just running around chasing the $10 like it's the only $10 that's going to reach the community. And in some cases it might be, right? But we have to, again, they need access.
And it takes us to be patient with people that have to break out the psyche. Because it takes years to break out. undo. If you're 30 years old and you're just learning this today, like it's going to take some time before it really clicks, you know? Yeah. It would take time. It's not going to be like, well, I learned this, so hey, that's it. Right. It's like, yo, we got to, as everybody, and I'm talking to myself, we got to be patient of everybody. Yeah. I know I do, because I get really frustrated, but this is a good.
We already know me. Jesus still working on me.
Amen. That's what me too. You feel like,
and he's still working. He got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, but don't trip. You know, you at the right time, it will happen. Everything happens at the right time, and I'm a firm believer.
I ain't tripping. As long as he do it, then we straight.
All right, but this is a good one. Thank you, Chantel. This is great. Yeah, this is really deep, y'all. Like this is deep.
This was a good one. All our conversations just flow into.
I know. Who would have ever thought, like, literally, like a year ago, hey, we're gonna do a podcast? Like, who would have ever thought, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like,
never.
That's crazy. Like,
never. It is fun though.
I know. It's so
enjoy it. So
every time. Until next time, guys. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Hope you guys got something from this. I hope that it's helped you learn something.
Absolutely.
We learned something from this. And whatever you do learn, share your insight too on the comments section. I want to learn as much as you. If you know something that I don't know, please help, because this is the point we're talking about. Like,
if I said something wrong, you like, but she said this, and like, come on, man, comment on it, let me know. We can address it. We all out here trying to learn and be better. Like, this is not a situation where it's like, you know,
what we're talking to y'all. It's like, we're trying to figure this out just as much as everybody else.
We are.
You know?
We don't know more than you. Like, we don't. This is just, you know, life and things from our perspective. And if you got another one, share it with us.
Yeah, please do. Drop it in the comment section, and then go ahead and like and subscribe all this stuff, because you need to be here for the next one, because it's really gonna be good. The next one's conspiracy. Just joking.
Subscribe. I was
look at her face, like,
y'all gonna look on this side of the camera and it's just gonna be blank. Like,
she get back this, like, the eye roll back. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna just be sitting there like,
go ahead, speak the whole podcast. I trust me, I can.
I don't have a comment on it. Right? What do you think? I don't have a comment on that.
I plead the fifth. Like, really?
Right?
Really?
No, I'm gonna pull like a Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. That was great. That was great, man. Bring back sports.
Oh my gosh. It's not happening this year. But until next time, guys, thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, like, you know, do your thing. Love you guys. Peace, love, and hair grease. See you on the next Unpack Your Bag podcast.
Love, peace, and soul.
Hey, my hairline's bad. Don't trip.
Like so. All right, y'all.
Later.